Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. Well, as you can see, the build is coming along really nicely. I have upgraded the missing screw. Well, the screws that I had back here I didn't have the right size for. I got those in and swapped them. I got a thumb screw kit from Protec. Put one stud here and the thumb screw, and then on the other side I left the existing piece of metal hardware and put on another thumb screw. Servos all mounted, almost ready to go to electronics. Just got to do the center diff and motor mount. And the motor is actually mounted on the motor mount. It just needs to be slid into place once those pieces go in. So it is now time to build the center diff. I was waiting on a couple of replacement parts, namely these little pins. I had lost a couple of them, and as you can see, I've got some extras. And while I was at that, I bought another pair that came with a set of the aluminum cross pins in case I ever damage a pair of these. So all these extras are going to go into the parts box. And as long as I was grabbing small knickknacks, I got some washers. These are 0.5, 1 millimeter, and 2 millimeter washers. So those will allow me to make any changes that I want to. So those will also go into the part box for this car specifically. And the shims. If you recall, the reason I lost a couple of those pins is because I was having a hard time getting them into the side of the differential that has the ring gear. And that seems to be a problem for a lot of people trying to get that in. Once you do, it's very tight, tighter probably than it should be. There is an associated document out that I'm going to put up on screen right now. And it recommends switching the 0.2 millimeter spacer for a 0.15 millimeter spacer. Unfortunately, the spacer that they recommend is an associated part that does not exist. I've looked all over for it. Not only is it out of production, but it is sold out everywhere, including eBay and Europe, wherever I looked. So this is a set of shims in 0.05, 0.1, and 0.2. So one of the smallest, the 0.05, and stacked with one of the 0.1 millimeter shims will create that 0.15 shim that they suggest swapping out for the 0.2. So I got a couple sets of them because they were very inexpensive. I'm going to give you this part number. It's Yokomo. It's ZC-S50SA. And it's called stainless steel spacer shim. So easy enough. And that is actually going to make the diff run better, because if one side is tight and it's not rotating as freely as the other side, you're going to have a slight imbalance in the diff. So I am probably going to be tearing down these diffs very shortly here and swapping them out, most likely before I even take it to the track for the first time. So I just want to get that change made and over with. I might even use the 0.1, depending on how tight it is. But now at least I have options. So, center diff. Here's all the parts from bag 10. here are our plastic gears. Everywhere I have looked, everybody runs the plastic gears, even when they're running it with a pro motor, like something like a 5.5 turn, which has a tremendous amount of power, and they're running modified, they still run the plastic gears, and that should be elegant proof that they are strong enough. Otherwise, they wouldn't run them. Always check in your plastics, like when you open this thing up, see how one of them had gotten up there in between the two pieces of the folded cardboard and was hiding up there. Now, even though I have little cubbies for parts, when the parts are this small, I like to throw them into a small Ziploc. That's why I save these. Now, my center diff, I'm going with 500,000. Okay, so I'm going to run the 78, not the 72. So that'll go and get put away. Same thing with those metal gears. I hear the clattering of pans. The wife is cooking chicken thighs and Dungeness crabs. It's going to be a good dinner. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but that pin went in nice and smooth, which is exactly what we hope for. And that's why the other side is such an issue, because if it's so tight that you can barely get the pin to squeeze in, and you've got to really compress the O-ring to do it, which is exactly what I had to do. I had to literally hold down on it with several fingers, pressing down with the out drive against the table to get that thing compressed enough that it would let the pin pass through. That is not what you want. That's binding, long and short of it. hope we don't have the same issue with this piece here. We'll find out in a minute. No problem. If it is, I've got the shims. I'll just go down in size. And it goes right in. Perfect. See, that's what we want on the other one instead of this compression. Well, not exactly what I was looking for, but this will do. See, what I'm doing is I'm filling space that will otherwise never get full with this thick snot-like substance. 500,000 or 500,000 is really thick. And it will make for a very tight diff, which is what we want. I know this seems a little backwards, but I want to get some of this 500 down into the depths of the diff case before I put in the gears, or I'll never get it. I'll never get the 500 fluid down in there. So make sure that the ridge, there's a little ridge here, and likewise here, that needs to, the ridges need to be away from each other so that they hold the bearings. And we need 3x8s. And we're going to need 3x8s to cap them. I find it hard to believe that's all there is holding that in. Okay, that isn't going to quite work. Those button heads are too tall. There are special steel screws here that are shorter. Okay, got a little problem, and it's not mentioned anywhere. The bolt heads for the that hold our ring gear on rub against the carbon fiber, and if they are held away from it, everything works fine. But there's a certain amount of play here in our diff, which means I need some shims, and basically they're the same shims you would use on a differential, an internal differential, to space it out. And I should have some of these. I may not have them here in the box at the moment, but I know I've got some of that type somewhere, and I need to rummage them up. So if you find that you've got that problem, do not try to run the car. You will destroy that piece of carbon fiber, and that would not be a good thing. I'm sure it's an expensive replacement. Let me pause up and rummage through a few different parts boxes until I find the right shims. Now, I have found some shims that should be the correct ones, or will work. They are a Traxxas or Arma shim. They are made for the same thing, differential adjustment. So as long as they have the same outer diameter, they'll work just fine. I'll get you part numbers on that in just a minute. First, let's see if they're going to work. And they look like they're going to fit. I'm going to try two right off the bat and see if they fit. No, they are a little bit small. I mean, a little bit large. Nope. Nope. Actually, they look like they're going to fit. They're kind of a squeeze, but I'm not going to give you the part number because I wouldn't recommend using these. I would get the proper size, but like I said, I think I can make them work for me. Two of them takes up the space properly. And they fit. A little out of shape, but they aren't rubbing against anything, so they're going to be fine for now. I have an idea that might work even better and keep the bearings from being out of... No, let's not do that. They are where they're at. I was going to say they might be better putting them on the inside, but that's not going to work. They're not supposed to be on the inside. They would need to be on the outside. That is a really smooth drivetrain. I mean, that's everything turning. Front diff, rear diff, all the drive axles, everything. That came out very nicely. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. You will need to measure out your bearings outer diameter, which should be, let's see if they listed here. Yeah, 10 by 15 by 4. So you need a 15 millimeter diameter shim with an inner diameter of probably 11 or 12, and then in thickness of I think these are 0.1 or something along those lines. As I said, this is an ARMA piece, and I got these to adjust the axles on my axial SCX6. So if you go watching that video, you'll find the part number there. Like I said, I'm not going to offer you the part number because I wouldn't recommend using these because they don't quite fit. But that's up to you guys if you want to do what I'm doing here, which is a kind of a make it fit fix. So that's it. Other than shock absorbers and finishing electronics, we're really coming along here.